Hi, thanks for joining me today. It's Geraldine from the Paper Puffin Studio, and today I'm going to show you how to make this fun fold shutter card. This card opens like this, and it has all of these beautiful pieces on the inside, a great way to use up designer series paper and display it. I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Now let's get started. Let's begin by reviewing all of the pieces that you'll need to make this card. You'll need your base color in 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. You'll need your insert cardstock, and this piece measures 8 1/4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Then you'll need a coordinating cardstock for all of the mats. For the mats, you're going to need 8 at 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. You'll need 2 at 1 7/8 by 1 1/8, and you'll need 4 at 1 1/8 by 7/8 of an inch. You'll also need some white cardstock, and for this piece we have 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. That's going to go on the back of the card for your message or note. You'll need 2 at 1 3/4 by 1 3/4 inches, and 2 at 1 3/4 by 1 inch. For the designer series paper, you're going to need one piece for the front, and this measures 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. You'll need 2 pieces cut at 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, and 4 pieces cut at 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. You'll also need these 4 small pieces, which each measure 1 inch by 3/4 of an inch. For the scoring, we're going to start by taking the base of your card, and you're going to score it at 4 1/4. So line up the long edge with the top and 4 1/4 on the side, and go ahead and score right down the middle. For the insert piece, I'm going to line up the longest edge along the top, and we're going to be scoring this at 2 1/16, 4 1/8, and 6 1/4. Now taking the piece of paper which acts as the insert, and we've already scored it in 3 places, I'm going to be turning the paper so I have the short edge along the top, and I'm going to line up with the left side at 2 inches. I'm going to be placing my blade at the 1 inch mark on this runner and cutting from 1 inch down to 7 1/4 inches. Now I'm going to take the paper out, turn it around, and repeat. So again, lining up the left side with the 2 inch mark, I'm going to be cutting from 1 inch down to 7 1/4 inches. So now the cutting is done. I'm ready to do a couple of more tiny score lines. So you'll see you have a cut line from here to here and here to here. I'm going to be lining these cut lines up and scoring between those cut lines. So lining up my blade and this right hand side at 1 inch, I'm going to be scoring from cut line to cut line. I'll take the paper out, turn it around, line it up again at the 1-inch mark on the right-hand side, and score from cut line to cut line. To review the folding and burnishing now, I'm taking my card and I'm going to be folding the center line on the top and the bottom edge as a mountain, and then the inside piece will become a valley. The sides here will become valleys on the top and on the bottom, and the middle piece will become a mountain. So essentially the strip in the middle does the opposite of what all the outside edges do. As you go ahead and do that, you're going to want to use your bone folder and burnish along all of those folds. Now I'm ready to start gluing the Designer Series paper to the mats that I cut. I'm going to go ahead and glue all of these pieces together and pick up there. With all of the Designer Series paper now attached to the mats, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the images that I want on these white pieces of paper and adhere these to their corresponding mats. I'll go ahead and do that and we'll pick up there. All of the images are now stamped and colored, and now I'm ready to attach all of these pieces to the insert. I'll go ahead and do that and we'll pick up there. Now all of the pieces have been attached to the insert. I'm ready to start working on the base of the card. So I'm going to go back, grab the base of the card, place the piece of white cardstock on the back, because that's what I'm going to be using as my place to put the message. And then I'll prepare the front of the card. I'll go ahead and do all of that and show you. For the front of the card, I attached the Designer Series paper. I cut out using the stitched rectangles, a matte color, and then a piece of white. I stamped the images that I wanted and die cut out images that I wanted. On the back side of the card is the piece of white cardstock that I can write a personal message on. Now I'm ready to attach the insert to the inside of the card. So here's the insert, and it's going to go on the inside like this. But when I go ahead and start to glue, I have to be sure that I don't glue the pieces that I want to be able to move. So to flip it over, I'll show you where I'm going to be gluing. I'm going to be gluing here in this upper square, here in this lower square, and in this piece that attaches the two squares on the edge. I'll do the same thing over here, just placing glue in this top square, here, and then here. Now you can see that I've glued the insert in place. When I lift the card up like this, you can see that I've glued this panel, this smaller panel here, and this panel on both sides. And here we have the finished card. You can see that when you open up the card, it has quite a bit of dimension to it, and it displays the Designer Series paper quite beautifully. This is one version. I've also made a birthday version to show you as well. So for this one, I've used the So Happy to Have You in My Life, and on the inside, it looks like this. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.